before Endless Customers, I didn't have a plan. We were trying things, but we really couldn't say, this is the vision for generating high intent buyers. I have intuition too when I know something's right, and I knew right away this was right.
You're listening to the Endless Customers podcast, brought to you by the team at Impact. Endless Customers is the proven system to become the most known and trusted brand in your market. If you want to start to learn the principles of Endless Customers and how you can implement them in your business, pick up a copy of Endless Customers, a national bestseller wherever books are sold. Ready to start implementing Endless Customers in your business? Talk to Impact about how our coaching program can help you implement Endless Customers to success. And if you want to experience Endless Customers in person, do not miss our upcoming conference, Endless Customers Live, in Chicago, March 30th through April 1st, 2026. Registration is now open. And now, onto the show. Here's your host, Alex Winter.
For growing companies, marketing and sales can feel busy, but still disconnected. Leaders know they need better alignment, clearer messaging, and a more consistent experience for buyers. But it's not always obvious where to start. That's where an alignment day comes in. When teams slow down long enough to get on the same page around goals, roles, and buyer questions, everything downstream gets easier. Today, we're joined by Buz Artiano, who's the CEO of BuildX, to talk about how Alignment Day helped bring clarity across his team and set the foundation for their Endless Customers journey. In this episode, we'll talk about what Alignment Day looked like for BuildX, how it changed the way sales and marketing work together, the early wins they've seen, and everything that's been happening so far along the way. Let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Buz, welcome to the show.
Alex, it's great to be here, brother.
It's great to have you here, a fellow Massachusetts native like myself. It's you're in good company. Just to kick things off, can you just set the stage for our viewers and our listeners and tell people about your company, BuildX, what you guys do? Just let people know what you're all about.
Absolutely. So BuildX, we're located in Carver and Hanover, Massachusetts, and we are currently focusing on accessory dwelling units. State of Massachusetts passed a law in February of 2025, making them legal everywhere in Massachusetts up to 900 square feet. And we had built one previously that in 23, 24 in Plymouth, and had on a whim had an open house just to see how many people would show up, and the place was mobbed. And based on that, we pivoted BuildX to specialize in accessory dwelling units, and that's all we talk about now.
Wow, that's incredible. And how long have you been in this game or in this industry?
Yeah, good question. So in 1984, a while ago, started framing houses, and then in 1991 started building and selling houses, buying land and building houses.
Wow.
At the same time, in 1991, I started doing insurance repair work, fire and water damage repair, and at the same time continued to build houses. And then in 2001, I sold that first fire and water damage repair business to 3 employees. And then I had a 5-year non-compete. And then in 2007, I started another fire and water damage repair company called BuildX. And I had a big exit in 2021 to a national company called Blue Sky. And then I took out the REE and rebranded to BuildX, and originally started focusing on custom building, and honestly didn't really like it that much. And then the ADU came along, and love it. I love everything about it. It brings me back to my roots of building what I call first-time home buyer houses, and that bringing family together, and that whole experience of people being excited about what they're building, rather than building someone their third house, or doing a $250,000 kitchen remodel, and we're worried about the Pantone of the paint. It's not for me. So
Understood.
That's not who I am. So along the way, I built and sold or repaired about $450 million worth of buildings over the last 40 years. So here I am.
Wow, that's an incredible story, incredible journey. You clearly have a lot of experience, a seasoned veteran. $450 million over your career in build-outs. That's substantial.
Yeah, so we got to get cranking on this Impact Plus endless journey, so I can get that last 50 million in the books and be able to say $500 million.
I love hearing that. That's a great goal, and we're going to get you there. We're definitely going to get you there. So that's a great segue too. Can you tell me a little bit about how you learned about Impact and how you learned about the book
Sure.
Endless Customers, and just how that all came into being for you and for BuildX?
Yeah, roughly 6 months ago, was watching a little 5-minute video. My daughter owns a company as well called Restore Now. They actually do fire and water damage repair. And we're on a product called Job Tread, and Marcus is going to be their guest speaker coming up here, I think this week or next week in Texas at their event. And I got an email from Job Tread saying, hey, this is our guest speaker. And I normally don't click on those things, but I clicked on it, and there was Marcus talking about what he does. And I said, wow, this makes sense what he's saying. So I went on his website. I didn't know about Impact Plus yet. It was just Marcus Sheridan and, They Ask You Answer, which I'd never heard of either person or the book. Mm-hmm. And I filled out, watched a few more videos from him. And I said, this makes perfect sense, because in the fire and water damage repair business and in the new home building business, the marketing for the fire and water damage is more direct. It's more, belly to belly with adjusters, and, you're actually going and meeting homeowners. And there's not much discovery process, because when you show up, the building's already damaged and they need to get it fixed. Right. So the sales cycle can be really short, like 20 minutes. So it's and then obviously when you're building a house, you put an MLS and you sell the house. So I really had no marketing chops, if you will, or no background. I had done a bunch of customer testimonials under the BuildX brand, but never did anything else with that. So when I started the BuildX journey, I quickly figured out that I really had no idea what I was doing as far as online presence, marketing, lead funnels, any of those things. And listening to Marcus talk about people asking questions and video. So long story short, fell in love with what he was saying. I filled out an online form. This was like a Saturday night, about 5 o'clock, filled out an online form, and literally I hit go, and literally 5 minutes later, my phone was ringing, and it was Marcus himself.
Wow.
And he said, I'm stuck in an airport. Tell me about what you're trying to accomplish. So we literally spoke for probably half hour, 45 minutes. And he told me all about Impact Plus and the coaching and all those things. And I said, I'm in. My only request is that, you hook me up with people that have been a long time, and also people that are very direct, because I can be a handful, and you have to have someone that's be like, nope, do this. So that was my only request. And I think literally from that phone call, I think we were in Hartford, Connecticut 3 weeks later at the live event.
Wow.
And I brought my whole team.
And that's when I first met you. That's right.
Correct.
At Impact Live.
Yeah, that was less than 3 weeks from me hitting that online form to us being in Hartford, Connecticut. And I brought, I think, 12 or 14 people with us.
Wow. This is a recurring theme that we see here at Impact, and I really admire you for this, but the companies that tend to do well with endless customers and with this system and going through this process, it starts at the top from leadership, and there has to be that buy-in, and you clearly are a leader that goes 110%. You don't do anything haphazardly. I can tell just from the moment I met you, your energy and just the way that you carry yourself. If you're going to do something, you're doing it, and it clearly has resonated through. So you brought your whole team to the event. What was it like being at the event for you and having your team there? And like, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was interesting. So to buckle and brace what you're saying. So I'm a firm believer of overkill, right? So if we're going to do one, we're going to do 100, and everyone knows that here. So I sent everyone the video from Marcus, and we ordered a bunch of books even prior to coming. And we talked about it a couple times at our staff meeting. And I said, we're going. 2 people couldn't come because they had a prior PTO, they already had vacations planned, so they couldn't make it. But other than that, we brought everybody. 1 person stayed behind, and I don't remember why, but we had everyone there, essentially. And I didn't know what to expect. It was great for us. Hartford, Connecticut is about a 3-hour ride, a little less. So it was fantastic for us. We didn't need to fly. It's an easy city, it's a straight shot down the highway. So for us, it was an easy lift, fantastic event. It's really fun meeting all the other companies and realizing that this is such a universal business system that will fit with, there were people there were landscapers, there were accountants, there were doctors, there were real estate agents, there were people selling industrial equipment, you name it. There was, I didn't obviously get to speak to everyone, but I say I met about 20 different business owners or leaders, and and they were all in different phases of being on the journey. So for me, it was a fantastic opportunity to really reinforce that I had made the right decision.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's such a melting pot of different industries and companies and leaders and people. And it's a really great way to not just network, but to learn from other people and get inspired from other people as far as what you can do to apply to your business and how the Endless Customer System can help your journey. So with that, the major topic for today is talking about Alignment Day. And I really want to get into, you committed to Endless Customers, you came to the event, you brought your whole team or as many team members as you could, you knew this is what you wanted to do. What was the first step for Alignment Day, which is what we recommend? How was that for you? Like, what was the process of having a coach come out to your organization? What team members did you include in? Like, just walk us through that experience for you and for your team.
100%. I think for us, it was probably a little different for the average person where they had already been to the event for 2.5 days. So they were already aligned, and we had already spent a lot of time talking about, and not, I forgot to say, not only that, did I not only have my team, but my web developer flew out separately, and he was included. He came as my guest.
Wow.
So the person who handles my website was there. And literally, while he was at the event, he was making changes to our website based on what he was hearing.
No kidding. So in real time during the Alignment Day, making changes.
Yeah.
Wow.
He literally had his laptop out, and he was changing stuff on the website, and he's poking at me saying, "What do you think about this?" I'm like, "Leave me alone. I got to pay attention."
I love that. I told you guys, Buzz doesn't mess around. When he wants something, he gets it done.
So it was really good. So our Alignment Day at the office here, I had everyone come, including all the field people, everyone so that meeting, everyone was here because it was scheduled out well in advance, and we knew when when our coaches were coming. We had it in our big conference room, and it was, for them, I think it was much, I don't want to say the word easier, but it was probably a little bit different where everyone was already aligned, if you will, and now we needed to figure out what we were supposed to do.
Got it. So you already had that alignment. And why do you think that alignment is so important for you and for the team? Like, can you just walk us through a little bit of why that's such a precedent for you and the company?
So, and as I say this, everyone listening, I'm guilty of all the things I'm about to say in my past.
Okay, disclaimer, we got it.
Because I don't want anybody to think that I haven't broken these rules over the years. As the owner of a business, the leader, if you will, there are times when you have something in your head and you're probably not communicating it the way you need to the whole team. So, you want to start this new, thing, for lack of a better word, whether it's an email campaign or, a podcast or whatever that may be, but you haven't really sat down with everybody in the room and say, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, here's what we're going to do, here's the outcome we're seeking, here's all the tools. So, that's a lot of work to get that ready. Mm-hmm. And I've been guilty of, I'm a person where I shoot first and then aim later, right? So this was a good change for me to have a structured process that I knew that we should follow. And my commitment to Impact Plus and to my two coaches is that I would, whatever they said, we would discuss, but then once we agreement, I would follow what they said.
Excellent. And that's the key. We've seen this time and time again here at Impact, and it's much appreciated and respected to have somebody, a business owner like yourself, that also sees the importance of that alignment, because without it, it's really a make or break. If one person gets it and the rest of the team doesn't, or certain people are bought in and other people aren't, buy-in is a huge piece of making sure that this system and this journey works, because this isn't like a button that you push and then you're off to the races. This is something you have to work on as a team over time, and it's a journey, as we like to say. So it's not an overnight flip a switch and you're good to go. You have to really work at it and work together and collaborate as a team. So it's cool to see that and hear that. Were there any moments during the Alignment Day? And I'm just curious, was it Thomas? Who was the coach that came out to see you guys during the Alignment Day?
So Brian and Thomas came out to the office, and they were fantastic. So Brian obviously took the lead on the nuts and bolts of it, if you will, and then Thomas was more of the executive coach. But it was great to have both of them there. We did the first part, if you will, which normally would be, why are we doing this? Was more like, we know why we're doing this. So it's a little bit segmented probably than it would normally be for another company, because we were already in alignment and in agreement what we were doing. So it was more of a buckle and brace and recap and make sure everybody understood why we were doing it, what we were trying to accomplish, and what it took to do it.
Right. No, that's a great approach, especially coming out of an event and already having that alignment, like you said.
Yeah, if you can go to an event, just a plug for the event, if somehow you can get the majority of your people to the event, especially the people that are going to be the people pulling the levers, if you will, for the journey, you have to invest that money and take your people there, because I know you have one coming up in Chicago soon, right?
Yeah, that's a great point, Buzz. And for everybody out there, Endless Customers Live is a great event that happens twice a year. So go to endlesscustomers.com/live. You can check out which one's happening in Chicago in the spring, March 30th through April 1st. And then there's also one in the fall in Hartford that's in October the 5th through the 7th. So you can go get your tickets. You can check everything out. And it's definitely something you don't want to miss. Yep.
Yeah, so you have time, I'll put a plug in for you, Alex. Book your tickets now. Get your people there. It's worth it. I know it. You look at it and say it's going to cost me $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to go. It's well worth it. Just again, you get to meet all the team from Impact Plus. You get to meet the other customers. Marcus there. He's very available. He has his guest speakers there. They're available. You can have one-on-one conversations. And then you have the vendors as well. That's how I met Ruan from Splash Dash. Shout out to Ruan.
Shout out to Ruan. He's a great friend of ours here. Yep.
Love that guy. I'm actually his first paying customer.
Wow.
So at that event, I just happened to ask him, I said, how many paying customers do you have? He said, I don't have any. I whipped out my credit card. I said, well, you have your first one.
That's amazing. No, Ruan is great. And we actually had him on the show not too long ago.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also a great platform, great tool. If you haven't heard of it, you should definitely check it out. So let's go back to Alignment Day. You have Brian, you have Thomas, your coaches are there. It's in person, your whole team's there. It's an all day thing.
It was 6 hours. Yep.
Yeah. It's a good amount of time invested here, right? Was there a moment or like where a light bulb really went off, or was there like that aha, like, yes, this is exactly why we did this, and I can go and immediately start getting after it.
Yeah, 100%. So there were multiple moments. So whenever you start something, you think you know all the things that you're going to need, and then once you see the list, I can caution you that it's overwhelming when you realize how far behind you are. And I'm a person that I just need bite-sized chunks to pick off, knowing that there's a master plan, but then, do this. So for me, I need that, I'm going to call it a checklist, if you will, or marching orders. And then we just can, for me, I love, it's just no different than a punch list when you get to cross off when it's complete.
Right.
And when you're on a job, for me, okay, it's done. Let's move on. It's done and move on. So I think that was the first realization for me is, wow, this is fantastic, but wow, this is a lot of work.
Yeah. How did that reaction affect marketing, sales, leadership? Like how did you you're starting to see that it's a lot of work, but there's also in that work, there's a lot of opportunity to optimize and to fix and to make things even better to help grow your business. So how did that change the dynamic between sales and marketing and what you guys were going to do moving forward?
Well, so for us, you're looking at the current one and only salesperson right now. So that was an easy bridge. But when we started the journey, we already had 2 full-time media people here at the company.
Okay.
So that was an interesting look at, because again, I'm not going to say we were haphazard, but we really didn't have a plan with our marketing, our online presence. We were doing a great job and it was working, but there was no system that we were following. So that was, for me, that was the first step to say, okay, this is what we need to transition to. These are the questions we need to start asking. These are the questions we need to start answering. These are the questions we need to ask our customers during their testimonials, et cetera.
Right.
And then also working through what's on our website. We're currently, I think about 3 weeks, we've currently put our prices on the models now on the website,
Excellent.
but we're 2-3 weeks away from having the pricing tool live so people can price their ADUs live.
That's incredible. So you're starting to implement some self-selection,
Yeah,
self-service tools.
So that is, of all the things, the aha moments, if you will, or the oh my God moments, that pricing, putting the pricing on the website is the scariest thing I've done in a long time.
Really?
Bar none.
Let's talk about that a little bit more, because you're not the first person I've heard say that, and it is scary. And in certain industries, it's almost like a faux pas. People don't put pricing. They want you to talk to their salesperson. They want you to come talk to people.
Yep.
What made you realize you needed to be transparent about it and be honest about your pricing?
Marcus told me to do it.
Marcus told you to do it, and you trusted it. So have you?
Well, no, it's taken me whatever this has been now, 4 months to finally say, because I've had all those fears. Gee, if I put the prices on, no one's going to call my phone number. Or my competitors are going to see my price and they're going to copy what I'm doing, or this or that. And honestly, having the pricing on the website, it's been 3+ weeks, I believe, maybe a little less than a month. The reaction has been the opposite from people. So we conduct what we call ADU home tours every weekend. We're at a current ADU that we have under construction, and we invite the public to come visit and see an ADU for real.
Okay.
And the reaction to the pricing has actually eliminated a lot of fear, people coming in the door versus not having the price. I've seen the conversation shift tremendously over that short period of time of people cold, people showing up cold and walking in the door.
Wow. That's incredible to hear, because it has been a short amount of time and you're already starting to see.
Yeah, it was immediate. It was within the first week.
So how do you see this affecting your sales approach and how these conversations are going to be moving forward into the rest of the year?
So a disclaimer, right? This is the plan today. So if you're watching this 6 months from now and I'm not doing it, don't call me and yell at me.
Deal. We won't hold you to the fire on this one, Buzz. We won't.
All right. So the plan is, what we've discovered looking at our data from 2025, we had 697 families come through our ADU home tours from May to December.
Okay.
And when I say families, they come in groups from 2 to 10 people. So roughly 3,000 people came through the doors over Saturday and Sundays in that time frame.
Wow.
The goal this year is to have 1,000 families come through. The system, they ask you answer all that, all our Facebook, everything now is driving everyone to come to a home tour. That's what we want you to do first. Okay. Come meet us, take the fear out of it, right, of who we are and what we build, get to meet the team, take some plans, see an actual ADU, see if it makes sense. And then from there, either on-site book a project discovery call, or we'll follow up with you in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. I think having the pricing guide already built, we can do two things. One, the people that come to the ADU home tour will have already pre-priced their unit, a range.
Right, they'll have an idea of what it's going to cost.
Yeah. Yep. So they're not walking in and saying, how much is this? And you're like, well, it's between X and Y, and you're starting that whole conversation live. Two, let's assume they haven't done that. With the price guide, I think we can do it live right there with them at the home tour.
Yeah, that's incredible. Great way to educate your buyers and build trust. I also heard just from what you were saying that you have clearly defined stages now. It's like the social media and your website is driving traffic to come to these in-person.
So we looked back at I think we signed 16 or 18 deals in 2025, and the goal is 36 this year.
Okay. So
we went back and polled those 16 people that have, raised their hand, have hired us. They've given us money. Some are still in pre-construction, but they're sold. The majority of those people heard about us either on the radio or by social media and came to an ADU home tour.
Okay.
And that started their journey. So based on that data, I said, everything drives everyone to come to an ADU home tour. And then we book a discovery call and find out what's unique about their property.
Yeah. It's a really interesting approach to basically assignment selling, because what you're doing is you're educating your buyers. You're attracting them through different outlets, whether it's radio, social media, your website, these self-service tools. And then they come with at least a ballpark in mind. And then to be able to be in person, seeing is believing, especially with the service and the products that you're selling. So to have a tangible experience, it just seems like a really great funnel and way to get people to see and feel like they can trust you and not feel like they're getting
100%. And what you find is the people that I'm going to call them high intent buyers.
Mm-hmm.
They come back multiple times. So they might come their first time by themselves, weekend one. The next weekend they come back with their significant other. The weekend 3 they come back with whoever's going to live in the ADU, their parents or their child or whoever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then weekend 4 they all come back together. So when I start seeing someone 2 and 3 times, I know that they're at the point where they're ready to get serious about building an ADU.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And having these stages or these signals clearly defined really helps in the sales process, because you can start to qualify and really understand who's really going to be a buyer and who's not, so that you can focus your energy.
And what I'm about to say is based on limited data,
Mm-hmm.
but I think a normal lead, if you will, somewhere between 1% and 3% is ready to buy. I think the people that attend the home tours, I think it's 5 to 8%. They're ready to do something.
Okay, gotcha.
I think it's a higher because they have to get in their car. So they found us online. They've done some study. Oh, the other thing that the pricing on the website has done is the time on the website has doubled since we put the pricing on.
So time spent on page has doubled.
Yeah, doubled.
Wow, that's excellent.
So we were at 2. Actually, it's gone more than that. So we were at 2 minutes. I think we're at 5.
It's more than double. And it's interesting too, because you had mentioned your numbers from 2025 that you sold about 16 units. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that in this coming year, the goal is to basically double that as well.
Correct.
Can you just, I guess what I'm trying to get at here is, previously, before working with, hearing about Marcus, Endless Customers, working with Impact, what has shifted, or like how do you see that shifting? And
everything.
You're talking about doubling your business, which, I mean, that's any business owner that's listening, that's the dream, is to continually be doubling down and growing and expanding. So that's becoming a reality for you.
There's a point. So having done this before, so just understand when I started back up in 2007, there's a point where you can double, and then after that, the most you can grow is like 20-25% a year, because you'll blow up. So I think that there's stages in there.
Balance to it.
Yeah, where, because you have that intersection of overhead versus profit, and then, you have to get a lot more overhead and your profit goes down or even negative for a while until you get more sales. So,
right.
Just be careful with that, because I've been on that roller coaster many times. So
that's why we call it a journey. That's why we call it a journey, though. There's peaks and valleys.
Yeah, it's a journey for sure. Yeah. But the point of that story is, before Marcus, I didn't have a plan. We were trying things, they were working, but we really couldn't say, this is the vision. This is the operating system, if you will, for the front end for generating high intent buyers. Mm-hmm. Prior to Marcus and prior to Impact Plus. And that's I literally, while I was watching that 5-minute video and then one on his website, and I don't remember what video I watched, but it was him explaining why you need to do this, and I'm paraphrasing now. I was like, he's right. You know what? He's right. You're right. I was thinking that, but I didn't understand it. And the more he talked, the more I was like, wow, okay, this makes sense. And that literally caused me to fill out that form, and 5 minutes later, I was talking to him. Now, I'm sure that's not going to happen to everybody, but for me, it was, some people say I have a lucky charm, a guardian angel, whatever, but that happens to me a lot. I'll do something and then, boom, it happens. So, I don't know. I have intuition too when I know something's right, and I knew right away this was right.
That's great to hear that. I love hearing that. You do have good gut instinct. And I also think too, though, that you listen to your gut. There's a lot of people that don't do that. And I have to give you credit for taking the leap of faith. And when you have these light bulb moments, just going for it and not being afraid to shy away from what you think is going to be best for you and for your business. So
yeah,
kudos
now
to you.
the hardest part, I will tell you though, let's talk about the hardest part.
Yes.
The hardest part about this system is it takes a lot longer than you think to get started.
Yeah.
Because you're starting, even for us with 2 media, let's pretend you don't have any media people. Now you need to start hiring people and getting them. And the problem is you're going to have a huge ignorance tax you have to pay down, right?
I love that.
And,
Yep.
Right. And I'm stealing that from Alex Hormozy. Shout out to Alex Hormozy. So you've got to pay that ignorance tax down. And that can be very expensive. The good news is if you're working with your coach, Impact Plus already has the job description written. They already have the testing written, what you should look for, the scaling metrics, all those things. So it's going to be less painful than if you just decided to hire a media person on your own prior to working with Impact Plus. Now, in my case, I was very lucky that my first hire was Kevin Weldon, and he's been a beast from day one. But that doesn't always happen. And then he brought on Chris Patel that he knew personally. So for me, and he's been awesome as well, because Kevin literally Chris started, I think, was it 2 weeks? 2 weeks prior to Kevin leaving for 8 weeks for maternity leave.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
So
he jumped right in,
I was gonna say,
and we already had the podcast studio set up. So,
yeah.
For me, I was very fortunate. Now, the hard part for us so far is we really haven't found that content manager, but between having Aaron, our website person, and we already had Josh, who's been helping us with, writing, they've kind of taken up that, charge, if you will. So for us, I had a lot of the pieces and parts, but I will tell you that's going to be your heavy lift, is to find that first hire, and hopefully they're the right person. So I would say my caveat to this is listen to your coach, do what they tell you to do about the hiring, the ads, the testing, and then you probably still have a 50-50 shot.
No, it's true though. The coaches, and that's a really great point that you make. We've been doing this for a long time here at Impact, and we're experts in the endless customer system and that journey. And it's not always easy to find good talent. Hiring good people finding good people is hard to find. So when you're looking for a content manager, when you're looking for videographers and for people to help create this content, because it is a lot of content you have to create, it's nice to have a coach and to have some of these systems and guardrails in place to help you just make those decisions, especially if you're not familiar with it. If you're a builder, or if you're in contracting or plumbing or whatever industry you're in, you're most likely not a video expert or a writing expert, right? So it's hard to bridge those gaps sometimes, and there's definitely a lot of value there. What else can you say working with the coaches? So working with Brian and working with Thomas.
Yeah, well, one other thing that just popped in my head. I just want to say to everyone that's listening, that's an owner and just, says, I don't want to be on camera. You need to be on camera. So just get on camera. The first time you do it, it's gonna hurt. It's okay. Just film it. And if you never use it, then film it again. You never use it, film it again. And the more you do it, the easier it'll get. When I first started this podcast, I wrote out this whole script of the questions I was going to ask in my first podcast. And about 2 minutes into it, I just flipped the paper over and just started talking to a person. So just be yourself. Just be yourself. Get on camera. Be yourself.
It's great advice.
Plain and simple.
Absolutely great advice. Thanks for sharing all these insights. Buzz, my last question for you, and I think this is an important one. What would you say to people that are listening and watching the podcast right now that maybe are thinking of trying out Endless Customers or reading the book, and they're like, I don't need an alignment day. I can just do this myself. What would you say to those people? And is an alignment day really that important?
Yeah. So speaking for myself, guilty as charged. I've read lots of books over the years and said, I'm going to do that. I think I've read Traction 3 times. I read, ESOP 3 times, 4 times, weight loss books, meditation books, you name it. I've read a lot of books.
Sure.
And I'm sure I've done a little bit of each one, but I've never followed a system and been held accountable. And that's why you need a coach, and that's why you need alignment day so that everybody understands where we're headed. And then you have the little mini alignment days as you're going along. I think they're every 90 days. Could you do it on your own? Sure. Are you going to do it on your own? I think the odds are slim.
Yeah, well said. I couldn't agree more. So last piece here. What do you see for the future? You know, we're just embarking into 2026. Are you excited for the future? It seems like there's a lot of growth potential heading your way. Is that true?
So, you know, you never know, right? But I'll be able to tell you based on the traffic in the next 3 weeks. It's January. If we're busy at the AD Home Tours in the middle of January, I think this is going to be a banner year. Everything that I've seen around accessory dwelling units is there is a lot of people that are just even learning that they're legal, if you will, or can do it. Because you can remember, for years, people would have to go and do an in-law and fight about a special permit. And, you know, there's so many roadblocks. And now with it being as of right, you know, people are like, okay, what is this? Can I do it? Does it make sense for our family?
Yeah.
So my personal opinion, if you extrapolate the numbers from California to our population here, it comes out to 6,000 ADUs per year in Massachusetts. So, what do I need? I need 0.5%. I think I can do it.
I think you can do it too. That's really exciting. And I'm curious, we track everything here, our coaches and our system, through the scorecard that we have, the Endless Customer Scorecard. Do you know what your score is right now?
It's pretty low.
That's okay. When you start out on the journey, it usually is. Ours was too. We did this. We did this here.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but it's in the teens. I know that.
Okay, cool. Well, Buz, listen, this is the first of many times we want to have you back on the show. We want to track your progress because it's exciting. And I had to ask because I want to make sure we compare.
Yeah, 100%.
Next time, so we can be like, hey.
Yeah, well, actually, remind me when you set up the next one, and I'll bring the scorecard and we'll talk about it.
Sounds good. I think that'd be a fun episode for everyone to see and experience.
Yeah, and I'll put it on the screen and I'll talk about, you know, all the part that hurts. We'll talk about the wins and the losses.
I love that. I'm going to take you up on that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, Buz, thank you.
We can hopefully it'll save someone else some pain and suffering.
I love that. Sharing these experiences, you know, knowledge is power. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
so
100%.
I really appreciate you being on the show and for sharing your story and for being so transparent and just so much fun to talk to. So thanks for your time, Buz. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, love it. It was good to meet you and look forward to more episodes. And I'll see you in this whenever the next one is. And I'm not coming to Chicago, but I'll be in Connecticut on the next one.
That's right. We do 2 a year. So if you can't make it to Chicago in the spring, we have a great event here in Hartford in the fall. So go to endlesscustomers.com and you can check out when the events are happening and sign up and get your tickets. But Buz, thanks again.
You got it.
Yeah, great to see you.
All right, have a great day, Alex.
All right, you too. Take care. And for everybody out there watching and listening, this is Endless Customers. I'm your host, Alex Winter, and we will see you on the next episode.